Welcome to Does It Matter by Brainy Ballers, where we dissect the game with cutting-edge analytics to give you the upper hand. We analyze everything from hand sizes to average depth of targets to uncover hidden trends that no one else sees. Say goodbye to guesswork and hello to data-driven domination. Because here at Brainy Ballers, we don't just watch the game, we understand it. So get ready, it's podcast time.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We're always digging for those important nuggets in, well, mountains of information.
That's the goal.
And today, we got a really interesting one, especially if you're into the NFL, fantasy football. Maybe both. We're asking, do vertical jumps, those combine numbers, actually matter for wide receivers? Like, can they predict success?
It's a classic scouting question, isn't it? How much weight do you put on these drills?
Exactly. So we're diving into a pretty comprehensive analysis. It took NFL draft combine numbers, crunched them with fantasy football performance, PPR scoring, going way back to 2003.
Right, a good chunk of data there.
Yeah, and the mission really is to find those surprising connections, or maybe lack of connections, that make you rethink things.
Always good to challenge assumptions.
So let's just quickly set up how they did this. The study focused on combine numbers for the top 50 fantasy finishers each year. PPR, points per reception.
Yep, standard format for many leagues.
And when we talk about the bottom 10, that just means the guys finishing 41st to 50th in fantasy points each year.
Okay, so comparing the very top against that lower tier makes sense.
Now, what's kind of funny is the charts didn't really scream anything obvious. It was messy.
That happens a lot with initial data visualization. You don't always see a clear line right away. The top guys were only consistently better looking about half the time in those initial graphs.
Right, classic data behavior. So that begs the question, how did they actually zero in on an optimal vertical jump range if it looked so ambiguous at first?
Well, they had to start somewhere, so they tested a threshold. First up was 37 inches.
Okay, 37.
So looking at those bottom 10 receivers, right, the 41st to 50th group, 35.8% of them hit 37 inches or more since 2003. That was the baseline.
Right.
But for the top 10 finishers over that same period, it was 45.2%.
Okay.
That's 61 out of 135 guys. So you see a 9.4% increase compared to the bottom group.
Okay, so a noticeable jump, but maybe not overwhelming. Suggests there might be something there.
Exactly. It was a starting point. It made them think, okay, let's refine this.
So did they manage to dial it in even more, find a sweeter spot?
Do you want to start dominating your drafts? At BrainyBallers.com, we've researched every metric under the sun for you to find which ones are best linked to fantasy points. You can access hundreds of metrics to sharpen your scouting ability so you know which metrics matter and which are just noise. Stop guessing on which thresholds to look for within each metric. Big numbers can be misleading or irrelevant. Our Ultimate Athlete Blueprints reveal essential scouting metrics, their importance and benchmarks within each metric that help predict a player's probability of being a success or bust. Elevate your scouting ability with Brainy Ballers' Ultimate Athlete Blueprints today. Click the link in the description. Now back to the show.
They did, yeah. They kept testing different ranges, adjusting the threshold, and they found that a vertical jump of 38.5 inches or higher, that specific range, it occurred 15.7% more often in the top 10 finishers compared to the bottom 10.
Wow, okay, 15.7%. That feels more significant.
It feels like it, right? Looking just at frequency, you think, okay, here's something concrete, higher jump, more likely to be elite.
What did the actual statistical correlation show? Did the regression testing back that feeling up?
Well, this is where it gets, really interesting and maybe a bit counterintuitive.
Okay.
They ran the regression tests looking for that direct predictive link. The Pearson value came back at 0.014.
And for any athletic metric to be considered even slightly useful for prediction, you'd typically want a Pearson value of at least 0.1, maybe negative 0.1.
So 0.014, that indicates no strong correlation at all, statistically speaking.
But wait, how does that square with the 15.7% frequency thing?
That's the paradox. You see it more often in top guys, but the height itself doesn't reliably predict the points.
Okay, give me some context for that 0.014 value.
Think about something we know matters, like running back draft capital for predicting success. That had a Pearson value of negative 0.234 in their analysis. Essentially zero correlation from a statistical predictive standpoint. It's a real aha moment, like you said.
Definitely throws cold water on just looking at vert numbers in isolation. Did they see if this lack of correlation changed over the years, like decade by decade.
They did glance at that. And interestingly, despite the weak regression overall, the most recent decade, so 2014, 2023,
Yeah.
it actually showed a 6.7% decline in how often that 38.5-inch threshold showed up in the top 10 compared to the bottom 10.
So it's becoming less frequent among top performers recently.
Seems that way, yeah. Which makes it an even less reliable single thing to hang your hat on.
Okay, so let's try and wrap this up for everyone listening. The core paradox here is fascinating. You do see these really high vertical jumps, 38.5 inches plus, pop up more often with the truly elite fantasy wide receivers. That frequency is undeniable.
Correct. Almost 16% more often.
But when you run the actual stats, the standard regression tests, there's just no significant linear link. A high vertical jump by itself doesn't predict high fantasy scores.
Exactly. It's a really important lesson, I think. You can't just grab one metric, even an impressive one like vertical leap, and assume it tells the whole story.
Especially in something as complex as football performance.
Absolutely. These are complex systems. Athletes succeed for a combination of reasons. Relying on one number is, well, risky. Critical thinking about the data is key.
Well put. Okay, so final thought for you, the listener. The study mentioned they plan to do more work.
Multiple regression.
Right, using multiple regressions. So testing vertical jump alongside other things, maybe speed, agility drills, draft capital, college production to see if combinations reveal stronger correlations.
Yeah, looking for those interactions between metrics.
So the question for you is, what other factors do you think need to be combined with vertical jump data to paint a clearer picture? What combination might actually unlock some predictive power? Something to think about.